For those of you that don't know, terrorism is funded by organized crime and money laundering. This is the image of a terroristic threat that was made to a veteran after several issues with the ghost shadow people in our government. And the reason behind it is because of a document that was co-authored by officers of the corporate United States. This document, which was co-authored by officers of the United States, shows that they will tamper with evidence like this. They will blacken it out and blur it so you can't tell who's what. In 2016, you're supposed to believe that the corporate United States does not have the ability to scan color images into their files. While they published their interpretation of the case, they failed to tell you that the case was initiated because of false charges of a dog on the beach, as I was on a boat ramp at the time. Now, since Miss Pelosi and the Dems are trying to use the I word around Washington, Miss Pelosi, I accept your challenge, and here's my answer. Yes, I believe that being an American citizen, I must do what's necessary to step up. After 30 years in the military, I realize that my public service is not yet over. I must step up one more time. And I've already been threatened, so there's no backing down. For those of you that think that they won't launder money through the municipal courthouses after filing false charges. For those of you that think that the government that is doing what it can for the people, you got to understand, you are not the people they're talking about. If you're on a public boat ramp with a properly registered boat, carrying on a legally authorized act such as trying to go boating, and an agent from the corporate United States, as all these subcorporations are, tells you that you cannot use the boat ramp and we're going to cite you for a dog on the beach and try to rob you of $510 at the same time, basically that's proof that you are not the American people that they're talking about protecting. So who are these people that the officers for the corporate United States are talking about? Well, let's see. The golfer in question that was launching golf balls across the river is one of the Americans they're talking about protecting. Why is that? Well, it has to be that way because he is carrying out an illegal act of launching golf balls across basically a river or a roadway. So shooting across a road is illegal unless you're part of the crowd that's allowed to violate the law. That individual sitting there blocking the boat ramp sign is attempting to conceal his criminal act of filing false charges by standing in front of the boat ramp sign. Now, I know that you probably don't believe that they would go so far as to do what I'm telling you. So we will look one more time at their actions, at another document that they have basically. Here we go. Now, this is an image of the boat ramp sign. And as you see, the corporate officers for the corporate United States at the district court in Savannah, again, have darkened the image to such an extent that you can't make out what it is. When in fact, the evidence that was submitted was this image, so you can clearly read what's on the sign. See that? That's right, boat ramp. So basically what they're telling you as a member of the public, you are not allowed to have your property on your property. That's right. That boat ramp is a Corps of Engineers assets. It's federal. The Corps of Engineers states its jurisdiction goes all the way to the historical high water mark. Now the boat ramp itself is an asset of the Corps of Engineers. The local subcorporation of the corporate United States, Tybee Island, has been lying to the boaters in the community, telling them that the repair of the boat ramp is not in the city budget. Why would the city be taxed with the rebuilding of a federal asset? That's a very good question. See, the people on Tybee Island, they welcome your business. They welcome you to come down and use the water. They welcome you to buy the ice cream and the sandwiches, and they welcome you to spend money there. However, the other individuals on Tybee Island, the ones with the wherewithal to influence the people who determine who are the public and who are not, don't want the boat ramp there because they just want to use it for their private use. And you got the fact that it's a federal asset. You can't designate that, well, only these certain members of the public who are friends of the court can use this boat ramp. So what they do is, instead of, fixing the boat ramp and let the public use it as it was intended, even after jacking up our boat registration fees to double last year, and after increasing our fees associated with hunting the king's deer or harvesting the king's fish. Yes, I did say king. The government feels that these natural assets, which are yours as a member of the public, do not belong to you. They belong to a fictitious character called the state. Now, biblically speaking, you have dominion over the beasts of the field. So there is a problem there. When you look at the fact that the waterfront contracts, that's right, the waterfront contracts for all the assets between the boat ramp and the Tybee Island public beach are fraudulent contracts, we have an issue, because either you have waterfront access, which is in the contract, or you don't. Well, if the property is managed by the Corps of Engineers, goes all the way up to the historical high water mark, and the historical high water mark is higher than the sand on the beach, like, the first floor of any building on Tybee Island during a hurricane, you've got issues, because now you've got a fraudulent contract. You supposedly own a waterfront asset, which technically, according to the Corps of Engineers, you do not. Well, if it's a Corps of Engineer asset, let's just take the houses and the real estate you've purchased out of the equation that the government has fraudulently told you own. Then let's go back to just the water line at the grass's edge. Well, even if you go to the water line at the grass's edge, when the tide is out, you are no longer on waterfront property. That's right, your contract for the waterfront property is still a fraud. So, if we put back in the fact that you have a waterfront contract, then there is no way that a boat ramp can be considered the public beach. You can't have a public beach and a public boat ramp unless the public boat ramp is on the public beach. And if it is on the public beach, it's still in federal jurisdiction, and there is no federal law against a dog on the beach. Why is this? Well, for one reason, Tybee Island loves to promote itself as a family place to go for vacation. And even though you may consider your pet part of your family, Tybee Island just considers your pet another source of revenue. That's right, your property on your boat ramp, because it's a public boat ramp and you're supposed to be a member of the public, and they're trying to extort money from you. That's where the money laundering comes in. You see, they're filing a false charge of a dog on a beach, which is city jurisdiction. It's a city code, which cannot be enforced behind the historical high water mark. And since hurricanes historically put the first floors of a lot of houses in jeopardy of flooding, that would leave the city of Tybee Island jurisdiction the second floor buildings on Tybee Island. Well, I don't know. I just know that right now, as it stands, corporate officers of the shadow government have decided to threaten an American veteran. And if you want to know how this is a terrorist threat that's being funded by the what you call organized crime and money laundering, well, that's how they do it. They file false charges against you, and the judge will find you guilty because he's paid by the state, who is also paying the prosecutor and the officer who wrote the fraudulent charge. Now, like I said, the reason I'm putting this video up is because I'm answering the government's challenge, okay? I am actively running for president for 2020, and I will be running again in 2024 should President Trump prevail. For those of you who back Donald Trump, I have nothing against President Trump. He's doing the best he can in the snake pit he's having to work in. Whether or not he's actually doing something for the American people in the long run will only be determined by history, and history, as we know, is written by the victors. And the only way that the shadow government has to be a victor is by killing up all those people who stand for the American. You know, if you go to battle for this nation, you've got government officials who try to tell you, well, I can't change this and I can't change that, and I get it. But if nobody takes a stand, at which point will they stop taking? I'm doing everything I can to stand up and fight. The question is will you help me stand up and fight? Like I said, they're running the I word around Washington after officers of the court have tampered with evidence. Officers for the corporate United States have threatened postal workers for doing their jobs. Officers of the state at the appellate court level have filed fraudulent documents that have been forged, that's right, forgery at the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, putting the name of a 90-year-old judge on a document citing opinion that was cited down in the district court. Oh, and did I fail to state that the clerk at the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals that forged these documents is related to the judge at the district court in Savannah who wanted this opinion publicized everywhere? You can Google it. You can find out anything you want to know about the case. They published their opinion everywhere. The only thing they haven't done is told the truth. They've told you it's about a dog on a beach instead of the fact that it was a dog on a boat ramp. And they've also told you that because it's a city jurisdiction, city ordinance, that they have jurisdiction where they do not, because it's a federal asset. It's a public asset. It's a boat ramp. Falls under the Corps of Engineers. You don't have to take my word for it. You can look at the statements from the laws of navigation, navigable waterways, and you will find that the navigable waterways are the jurisdiction of the Corps of Engineers. Federal jurisdiction. So city code, again, does not apply in federal jurisdiction where there is no federal law against a dog on a boat ramp. These are the cases. These are the cases. You're welcome to freeze this, and you're welcome to look at it. You're welcome to Google search these, and you can go and find them. They will have all their published opinion, and every one of them, all the judges are telling you a fallacy that it's about a dog on a beach. They're totally ignoring the fact that we were on a boat ramp trying to take part in an authorized activity, no criminal acts involved. And again, my name's Albert Brinson. And again, I am running for president. And again, you can find my information on the cases by Googling Albert Brinson and Tybee Island. Again, I'm here fighting for your right to take part in sanctioned activities by the state. You're allowed to use a boat ramp as long as you follow all the King's guidelines. You've got your boat registered, you've got your life vest, you've got this, you've got that. As long as they can go in and find anything at all, you have to have a PhD in boating to not be cited for something. Did you hear what I said? You have to have a PhD in boating to enjoy a sanctioned activity. You have to have a PhD in hunting and fishing because of all the technical guidelines that they've put in place to ensure that they have a way of transferring wealth from you to the state. That's right. That's right. That's where the money laundering comes in and the criminal acts. They are transferring money from you to the state through false charges. You have dominion over the beasts of the field, but the king says he has dominion over all that. He owns all that, and that's the state. Basically a non-existent party. Just like when they write a citation for a seatbelt violation, they are violating the law. You have not injured anyone. They have endangered people by turning on their lights and distracting drivers. So your life in Meigs, Georgia is worth approximately $15 for a seatbelt violation, unless they've gone up this year. Again, you have a distracted driver and you die over the state trying to collect $15 because you weren't wearing your seatbelt. And you wonder who the criminals really are. I thank you for your time. And again, I'm Albert Brinson, and I am running for President of the United States. I look forward to the battle. I'm not a battle type person, but when you threaten me, you can go to a gunsmith and you can have this checked out. You can ask them how a firearm is going to work with this if you want to. I recommend you do, because this is how the shadow government murders people when they have a no-knock raid on the wrong house by accident. This is how they set it up so that they save their pawns while murdering Americans. Thank you.